Hi guys, Sandy from the Paddle School here. In today's video we're going to talk about a shot at the back of the court that a lot of players use and they're not using at the right times, which is a slice. Yeah. So we're going to talk about when is a good time to use a slice, when you need to be selective, what you should be aiming for, and then at the end of the video we're also going to talk about where you should be going after you've hit a good slice. Something we see a lot is tennis players coming straight to the paddle court and they use the slice backhand in tennis, and so they want to use slice for all of their shots at the back of the court here because they know the ball stays low at the other end if it bounces and hits the glass. Now, before we go into when to use it in paddle, let's just look at tennis to see if we can actually compare. Now, you use the slice, and normally the slice backhand, not so much the slice forehand, but the slice backhand in tennis, when you're at one baseline, your opponent is at the other baseline, so there's about 20-meter gap between you, and you want to brush down the back of the ball on a low ball, get it over the net so it's quite low and stay low at the other end with the view that they can't attack you with a high ground stroke shot from the back of their court. Yeah. You also have strings on a tennis racket which gives you increased friction, which means that the rotations are more, therefore you can kind of create more slice on that ball. You don't often use slice for a passing shot in tennis or to hit down to the feet of the volleyer if your opponents are at net. So let's have a look at when you would use slice in paddle. Now, if you're at the back of the court here, it normally means that your opponents are at net. Yeah, if you're in the right positions, both you and your opponents, you're at the back, they would be at net. So for you to hit slice on a low ball here, you don't have that same distance for the ball to travel to go into the space. Yeah, if you're wanting to play down to their feet, for example, and you hit a slice here, you have to be really accurate because the trajectory of a ball on a slice is a lot more kind of linear as opposed to, you know, where you can hit a little bit flatter. You can hit slice like this where the ball goes higher, for example, like a drop shot, but it goes at a lot of a slower speed, meaning that it's easier for your opponents to step forward and be a little bit more aggressive. So if you are hitting slice and you want to hit down to their feet from here, it means that you have to be really accurate, and also obviously there's a big risk to that. That's where a lot of players make a lot of mistakes, and obviously the aim in paddle is to be as consistent as possible. The times that you could use slice from the back of the court here is when the ball is above a kind of chest height here, yeah? Because if the ball is above chest height and you're in this position, it means that you can actually hit fast down the back of the ball and the trajectory of the ball can be flat like a slice shot. Yeah, you don't need that curve like you would do if, for example, it was a lower ball. So at this height, firstly, you can come down that ball so you can be aggressive like we just said, but also from here it's easier for you to hit faster into the spaces. Yeah, and if you do hit into the spaces and you make them play with the back glass, for example, it means that the ball will stay lower after that glass. So the times when you might have this is if you get an easy ball in front of you like this and you want to step forward and be aggressive and hit with a little bit of slice to go down the middle, for example. The other time that you would use a little bit of slice is if you've been lobbed on the bajada. When it bounces away from the glass, you can open that racket face and you're contacting, you know, above your shoulder here, and you're going through into the court like that. One thing to be aware of is that when you are hitting your slice and it's coming away from the back glass, you want to do this on a slower ball like the bajada after a lob. Yeah, so on the lob, it's not got too much forward kind of momentum, so you can actually get into a position and you can create that momentum. If the ball is already going quite fast away from the back glass, even if it is higher, it's difficult for you to be able to brush down that ball because it's already going in that direction. So you end up kind of only just touching that ball. So you really, if you're going to play it after the glass, you want it to be on a slower ball that's a little bit higher, that you can actually kind of come down the back of the ball and be aggressive with the contact. Now, many players will say to me, oh yeah, but if I hit slice from the back of the court here, my opponent is volleying and it's coming down off their racket. And you might be winning points like that at the moment with your level the way it is, but as soon as you get to a better level, the players will be able to volley a little bit better. They're not going to be making that same mistake. So if you get used to just slicing everything from the back of the court, at some point when you improve, they will find it easier. So it's worth you practicing now how to hit flat from the back of the court, both on forehand and backhand side, particularly on these lower balls, so that you can kind of improve that later on. And once you start practicing hitting flat, you'll be able to hit the chiquita, to the body, to the spaces, and control the speed of the ball much better with a flat shot. And I'll put that video on this side so that you can go somewhere and watch that after this.